It is no secret that everyone and their brother is making sourdoughs. However, some of us, myself included, cannot make a sourdough starter work to save their life. So I'm here to tell you that you can indeed make at-home artisan bread without it being a sourdough. It looks like this. This is what it looks like on the inside. And there's only about 15 minutes of actual work that goes into making this bread. You do need to let the dough double in size for 2 to 3 hours, and then there is a 30-minute baking time. However, after the dough has doubled in size, you can put it in the fridge up to 12 hours, so you can make it ahead the night before or get up early in the morning, whatever works for you. It also doesn't have to be in there for 12 hours, it's up to 12 hours. And to top it off, this is a no-knead bread. There is no kneading involved, no stretch and folds, nothing of the kind. So if you're looking for something that's easy, quick, and you can be a beginner to do, I think this bread is a wonderful place to start. So let's get going. To get started, we're going to need a mixing bowl for everything, 4 cups of either bread flour or all-purpose flour, 2.5 teaspoons of salt. I'm using baking salt. It's a very fine salt so that it dissolves more evenly. You can also use table salt. I would use just a little bit less. And then you also need 1 packet of instant yeast, which is the equivalent of 2 1/4 teaspoons of instant yeast. So if you're grabbing it out of a jar, that's the same amount. And it also says on the container that 1 packet is 2 1/4 teaspoons. So if you forget, they put it right on there to make life easier. You're also going to need 2 cups of warm water. I just microwaved mine for about 30 seconds. And then also I'm going to be using a Dutch oven to bake my bread in, and some parchment paper and plastic wrap or a tea towel will also be useful, and then any measuring cups that you needed. I also used a 1/2 teaspoon because I didn't want to get 2 of these dirty when I only needed the 1. To actually make the bread, we're going to start by mixing together the flour, salt, and yeast. And I could have just left it in that bowl, but when I measured my flour out, I didn't feel that that bowl was big enough for what I wanted. And I'm just going to use a fork to mix it up. This is what it looks like once all of the dry ingredients are mixed together. Again, that's going to be the yeast, salt, and the flour. This only has 4 ingredients total. I'm now going to mix in the warm water, just making sure it's still warm. And using a sturdy spoon to mix it all together. Like this at the moment, a little bubbly. And it's gonna look a little shaggy like it does right now, and that's okay, that's how we want it. Make sure you get as much incorporated as you can, because again, this is a no-knead dough. So we wanna make sure that we're getting everything mixed in there. This is what it's looking like right now. I'm gonna mix it a little bit more because I can still see flour on the outsides of it, so it's not incorporated as much as I would like it to be. And I'm gonna repeat myself. We want it to be wet and shaggy, but not runny. Next, I'm gonna cover it up with plastic wrap, like so. I might need 2 pieces because, you know what? Maybe we won't do the plastic wrap today. We're gonna try a tea towel. All right, just kidding. We're gonna stick with this because it's what's been working best. For the bread, for the dough, not necessarily getting it out of the package. But I found that the plastic wrap works better because it traps in the moisture, where the tea towel lets it get dry and builds like a little film on the outside and doesn't let it rise as much as it would with a plastic wrap. Now that my dough is wrapped in plastic wrap, I'm gonna let it sit for 2 to 3 hours to double in size and come back and check on it later. Now that my dough has doubled in size, I gave it about 2 hours, and I'm gonna now stick it in the fridge while I preheat the oven. But I'm going to also put my Dutch oven inside the oven while it's preheating, so they preheat together. Though I did put my dough into the fridge while the oven is heating up, that is completely optional. You at no point have to put your dough in the fridge at all, but if you would like to, you can put it in there for up to 12 hours. So it can be a make ahead kind of item. If you would like that, you can do it the day before, make it the next day, or you can get up early in the morning, make it, stick it in the fridge for 12 hours, up to 12 hours. So really it doesn't even have to be that long, but it kind of just enhances the flavor development while it's in there. So I'm just giving it a little bit of time to cool down, and once the oven preheats, we'll get it right back out. A very important piece of information is that the oven needs to be preheated to 450 degrees Fahrenheit. The oven is preheated. I got the dough out of the fridge, and now we're gonna get it ready to bake. So I did have some flour that was just left over from when I was measuring it out, and I decided to just leave it on the counter because I knew I was gonna need it later for this. So you wanna spread some out, and I got a little bit extra. Doesn't need to be perfect. Just put it on your working surface. Mine happens to be right on the counter. And we're gonna scrape out the dough and we're gonna scrape the dough out of our bowl. It's gonna be a little sticky. Looks like this. You know, you might want to see it. It is kind of sticky, but we are going to roughly shape it into a ball, so I do want some flour on my hands. And once again, does not need to be perfect. We're just going to kind of bring up the sides because we're going to put this side down. Now that we've kind of got it in a ball shape, I'm going to get out some parchment paper. Place that here, and we're going to pick up our ball of dough and put it seam side down, and by seam side I mean all of the pieces that we picked up and made it, that's what I was saying was going to go on the bottom. So it doesn't really matter what it looks like. You can give it a little bit of a reshaping if you want to. Should be easier to handle with flour. She looks like this. It's our little ball of dough right here. It's cute. I'm gonna leave that like that just for the moment. I'm gonna wash my hands so it's easier to move things in and out of the oven. I am now going to remove the hot Dutch oven from the oven, bring it here, and we'll go from there. I have a trivet just to protect my countertops. Don't forget to close up your oven so you don't lose a lot of the hot air that's in there. We're going to take the lid off now that it's all warm and toasty in there. We're just gonna plop our bread down in there. This is what the dough looks like in the hot Dutch oven before it's baked. I am going to score it and then we'll pop it in the oven. I'm putting the lid back on the hot Dutch oven. I'm going to place it back into the preheated oven at 450 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm going to let it bake for 30 minutes with the lid on, and then we'll come back to check on it. Okay, I'm going to take the lid off. Ooh. I'm going to take the lid off of it now. That's what it looks like so far. It looks beautiful. And then just close it up. Now the bread is going to be in there for 15 more minutes and then it'll be ready to take out and cool. It's been 15 minutes and it's ready to come out of the oven now. Friendly reminder to turn off your oven if you haven't done that already. This is how it turned out straight out of the oven. We still need to wait an hour for it to cool, but we also need to remove it from the Dutch oven before we do that. To remove it from the Dutch oven, you're just going to use, not the pieces of paper that were sticking out. Your parchment paper to lift it right out. It is absolutely gorgeous, better than I thought it was going to turn out. This might be my best bake yet. It's ready to cut, so let's see what it looks like on the inside. And there you have it, easy no-knead artisan bread that you can make at home. And it doesn't have to be sourdough. But as always, thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you next week.